Or actually, yeah, he's right up here in the corner. I'll pull you guys down. What's up, everybody? Let's see if I can find this. Good morning. I do not see this. Oh, here we go. Yes, I do. All right, how's everybody doing this morning? Welcome to the, 80th session or something of MasterclassCFL. Could y'all give yourselves and all the sponsors a round of applause? All the speakers, all the people who did this. This whole thing just started as an idea, about 7+ years ago, and we were talking about how there just wasn't a place to go and learn from the top people in real estate without an ulterior motive. You could learn, but it was like a brokerage trying to recruit you, or somebody trying to sell you something, or a coaching company trying to push something, and we just decided that, because we're neutral, we're third party, and we're deep in the real estate world, at least with the top agents, we might as well start interviewing the top people to talk about how they got into the top 2.5% in Greater Orlando. Sometimes in other markets we bring them here as well. But the idea is, instead of just throwing 4 private events a year, which if you don't know, my name's Ludin. I own Orlando Real Producers. If you don't know, it's a magazine and events for the top 500 agents. And we used to throw these parties and people would say, that party looked awesome. How come I didn't get an invite? Or how do I get invited next year? Or how do I come to the next one? And we'd be like, go sell more, buddy. And obviously it didn't feel really good, but it's based off of data that, we don't make the data. We just report on the data. So we decided we'd start putting the people that actually have confirmed production, the real producers, we call them, and that's not to say that everyone isn't a real producer, but we know that these people are certified producers, and we decided to have them on a stage to teach what they're doing without an ulterior motive, and we do it almost every month. So we've been doing this 10 or 11 months a year for the last 7.5. I think this is our 8th season. Could y'all just one more time give a round of applause to all the people that are involved with that? Enzian Theater. I got to give a shout out so I don't forget, because I usually screw this up. Dave Stewart, DStewartProductions, and his crew are running 4 different cameras. All the audio is running through them. So they do an amazing job, and you'll actually be able to watch the full replay with 4 cameras that are literally edited on the fly. So it's pretty badass. So can we give it up for DStewartProductions? If you guys need live video or audio production, you definitely should hit him up. He's also a world-class saxophone player, so you might catch him touring with Al Green or someone legendary. We also got Brian Price in the building shooting photos. Give it up for Brian Price. Make sure you smile if he starts pointing at you. And anyway, so Real Producers, we have about 90 advertising partners, and so basically they're all referred by top 500 agents. So we don't take bagels or donuts or just sponsorship dollar. We work with people that the top 2.5% endorse and vouch for, and they commit to supporting this platform on a several-year commitment. So what I'm getting at is, if there's someone in the room that you meet and they do title or inspection or moving or photography or something other than selling real estate, they're not here by accident. They are badass at what they do. They are certified legit. They are people you're going to want to know. So could we give it up for all the partners in the room? Make sure you meet them after. Afterwards, the first $500 spent at the Eden Bar outside for lunch will be covered by PJ Crescenzo with Element Mortgage, so give it up for PJ. And make sure you get an order in, hang out with us, meet some people. That way it's worth it. And we've got a handful of sponsors that stepped up extra to make today happen here at Enzian Theater. And so we're definitely going to give them each just a minute to talk about what they do. And make sure you follow them, shout them out, whatnot, because it's not long enough to explain everything, but they're all people you want to know. So sponsors, why don't you guys come on down here? By the way, if you have a friend that sells how many of you guys have a friend that sells real estate that's not here? Raise your hand. So if y'all could just pull out your phone, shoot them a text sometime during this session and be like, hey, how come you weren't here at Masterclass? And you can send them the link for next month. The next 3 months are going to keep popping up on the screen, but I'll just tell you now, next month is a selling and social media panel. We've got 3 different conversations happening. We've got 2 top producers that we're going to interview on what they're doing. Then we've got 2 rising stars that are kicking ass in their first few years, and we're going to interview them about what they're doing. And then we're going to interview 3 of the top local content creators for the real estate world about what's actually working for agents today. So could we give it up for that? It's a pretty sweet one. I might as well plug the next one because it's going to come up really soon, so might as well, let's see if this works. All right, then the next month, we've got persuasive conversations and negotiation. Persuasive conversations and negotiation, Lindsay K. Voss, TJ Cosgrove, Bree Tucker, and we have a special guest from Make Sales Great Again, Todd Spesh. He's going to be amazing. You definitely don't want to miss that. The next month, we've got a handful of people that not just sell a ton of real estate, like tens and tens and tens of millions, but they actually renovate the properties after, kind of like Property Brothers. And you're going to want to check that out as well. So make sure you register when these things come up. But anyway, I'm going to let the sponsors talk. Hopefully these mics are already on and just good to go. And you guys just take your 60 seconds. We'll go down the row. And everybody give it up for the sponsors.
Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me? Good. My name is Eileen Brown. I am not Monica Santiago, but I am filling in for her. And I hope that you all know her very well. I'm sure that you do. I'm with Assured Partners, and we are a local insurance brokerage, as well as national, but right here in your hometown. If you've gone to an Orlando Magic game recently, you've probably seen our name around the Kia Center. We would love to partner with you guys for insurance. Good news, and Monica asked me to make sure I share this nugget, rates are coming down. In the last month, we've seen an average of a 10% reduction in the average insurance premiums. So whether it's for your buyers or yourself, please make sure that you connect with Monica. Let us give you the opportunity to save a little money and maybe put a little more buying power in someone's pocket. Thank you so much for having me.
Good morning, my name's Jason Pugh. I'm with the Apex Group. We're a local lender here in Winter Park. I'm here for Chris Hardiman. The team that I'm on consists of myself, my wife Jen, and Walbert. Walbert speaks Spanish and Portuguese. We're a direct lender that has in-house underwriting, in-house closing, our own in-house appraisal management company. What we really specialize in is communication, as far as answering our phones, knowing the guidelines, so that if we give you a pre-approval letter, it's going to close. But what we're really passionate about is structuring the deals with your clients, and we're not the loan officers that are going to give you a pre-approval letter and then just let us know when it's under contract, and we'll get it closed. We want to structure the deal with your client, help them get the payment that they're comfortable with, and help them win in this interest rate environment. So thank you for allowing us to be here.
I'm going to continue with the trend of standing in for somebody who's not here. Natalie Baum with Central Florida Building Inspectors. Michael Schmidt is normally the one here. He's at another event this morning. So we are tag teaming. We've just hired 3 new inspectors, so we're up to 21, and we cover all of Central Florida. We work with several of you here in the audience today and on the panel. So it's because of you guys that we're able to continue to grow our business. So thank you for everyone. And that's it. Thank you.
Love it. Hey, y'all, 2 things before we go to the next one. Y'all jump in front of these chairs so these pictures come out better. And I want to give a quick shout out to people that are not here today. So we're going to give a 1, 2, 3 clap after I name all these companies, but we've got the crew with Blue Haven Pools. We've got Sorensen Moving and Storage. We got Florida Home Photo. He's speaking on the panel next month. We've got Scott Fosgate and his team with Atlantic Bay Mortgage. And then we want to give a quick shout out as well to Hatfellow Productions, Harding Bell International, and Orlando Estate Sale ladies that are supporting sponsors for today. Can we give them a 1, 2, 3 clap on the count of 3? 1, 2, 3. All right, Christy, keep on going.
Good morning. I'm Christy Keene with DeVore Design. Vic says he's very sorry to miss you guys, but taxes suck. Everybody's here to learn how to dominate their local market, right? I hope so, because I'm pretty sure that was the subject today. So one of the things that we can do for you at DeVore Design to help with that is all of your social media presence. Go follow us on any of our social media channels, and you're going to see our new and improved, amazing, super cool, eye-catching reels that we've rolled out for 2025. They are killer. If you saw the invite that went out from us for a Brokers Open last week, that's kind of the vibe. If you haven't seen it yet, go check out our social media pages. They're so cool, and they are absolutely going to help you guys be more recognized and be the person that they go, oh, I need a realtor. That's so-and-so. I saw their things online. Make sure you scan our QR code up here. There is a discount in there for you. And I can't wait to hear from all of the panelists today.
Good morning. How is everyone today? All right, fantastic. I'm Lori. I'm Director of Business Development with Red Door Title Group. I want to ask everyone a quick question. Who in here works 9 to 5? Oh, that's a lot of people that are saying they work 9 to 5. I don't think someone's telling the truth. All right. So as your title partner, we believe that you should have a partner in the industry that's available to you when you work. So whether it's after hours, weekends, we are available. And by I say we, that's actually me. And my lovely partner over there, I'm going to call him out. That's Travis Ginn right there. He is new to Red Door, and he is my right-hand man. So, so by availability, I just want to let you know that I give you my cell phone number. It's on all of our marketing material. I am fully available to answer all of your questions, not 9 to 5. So when you are at an open house, weekends, after hours, holidays, you can contact me. I can get those answers. I dig into the files. Additionally, I support and we support all of our agents on marketing, lead generation, helping you guys really target the markets that you work in. So talking again today about hyperlocal, reach out to me, let me know. I can get those lists, Travis can get those lists, and we can support you in really becoming the face and the name of the market that you are trying to dominate. Thank you, and I'll pass it off to the amazing Heather.
Oh, stop it. Hey,
Talk
everybody.
about dominating.
You see her dress? That's all I got to say. How's everybody doing? Come on, give me some energy this morning. All right. So you know my phrase, right? And you got to repeat it. We're too blessed. All right, so somebody's been listening. So, hey, Heather Hurry, Pillar to Post, the Jeff Mackey team, home inspection partner. 2 things. We've got a season coming up. Anybody know what that might be? Duck. Yeah, okay. So that one. So something you may want to consider in this market right now is a pre-listing or market-ready inspection. It's something that we do across the board. We're relaunching it for our listing agents out there. You just want to know the guts are good, if you know what I mean. And prior to that, you also want to know if that homeowner's insurance, hey, down the road, and make sure that's going to bind and everything is going to go smoothly during the transaction. We're not in it. We're never in it for just us, guys. We're in it for you. So at the end of the day, you want to be safe, make sure your client is protected. So if you have other questions regarding pre-listing or market ready, let me know. And look in your email, we're going to be sending you out a coupon for, I think it's $100 off your next inspection. So other than that, have an awesome masterclass. I love the panel. I can't wait to take notes. Have a good one, guys. See ya.
All right. Now, if you guys want to pull out your phones really quickly, and then we're going to pull out these panelists. But you want to pull out your phone, and what is the 3rd Thursday in June? Someone yell it out. It's the what? June 19th, we will be back at Venue on Lake Lily, just up the street. We are there for the rest of the year. So this is only at Enzian Theater this month, so make sure you enjoy it while you're here. And next month, you'll see the flyer come up, but we're going to be talking all about selling through social media and creating content and stuff like that. You're definitely going to want to make sure that you get registered. But without further ado, y'all ready to learn something today? If you are, make some noise. All right. I'm going to start off. Let's start off by interviewing somebody. Instead of going down the line with the panel, I think going back and forth is going to be way better. But here's what I want to know from you guys before we get started. I need a couple people to answer, why are you here today? What did you actually want to get out of this? Because transparently, I don't sell real estate. So if we don't talk about what you wanted to hear, then it's kind of your own dang fault. Who wants to tell me what you wanted to get out of today? Anybody? Somebody at least in the front. I'll bribe you with stuff. Somebody yell it out. You want to learn in general. All right, you know what? That gets you a book. What else? Make some more money. It's a good one. How about here? Pick up more business. What about specifically? Is there anything specifically you want to know from these people about hyperlocal? Who said farming over here? Farming. There's 2 of them. And you said something about, what did you say over here? Everything that everybody else said. You know what? I'll give you a book. Precious, can you catch this if I throw this far enough? Hey, at least I didn't hit somebody, right? All right. I got more goodies we'll give out later. I just wanted to make sure I get. Anybody else have something? Somebody this side of the room, maybe? Just yell it out. What'd you come here for? You're not really sure why you're here, huh? Anybody know why you're here? Yep, over here. Just trying to figure shit out. Can we give it up for that? All right, that's a pretty good answer. Well, if there's someone you could figure shit out from, I would say it is Mr. Kevin Kendrick, who's been on this stage many times before. He's born in Orlando. He's a 7th-generation Floridian, which that's pretty crazy in and of itself. Graduated from Dr. Phillips with actually one of our panelists who's not going to be here today, and that's Matt McKee. But can we all wish a giant good luck to his sons playing in the national championship? And I guess they won, so they stuck around in Atlanta, and he didn't make it back. But anyway, Kevin's been licensed since 2010. He made his first year, he made it on the top 500, and then the next year he was like in the top 50, and now he's always in the top 25 basically. But his best year ever was 95 million with 150 homes in 2023. Runs a small team in Lake Nona, and he's referred to as the mayor of Lake Nona. Give it up for Kevin Kendrick. Here, Kevin.
Well, good morning.
Let me have
Thank you.
Jump in this one because I'm going to interview you for a minute, if that's cool with you. Yeah. And then I'm going to bring up Erica, and then I'm going to bring up Suzanne, or maybe we'll flip it around. Depends on how this thing goes. I want to talk to you a little bit about your farming perspective and your technique of staying in Lake Nona, your attitude towards it, why you chose Lake Nona, why you're not everywhere else. Tell me a little bit about, tell me about how you got into real estate first, and let's talk about your business today in Lake Nona.
So I used to be a teacher, and then I became a principal. Teachers make the best real estate agents, because if we can convince kids to do homework and convince parents that their kid's not as super awesome as they think, then we can definitely sell some houses. So, but that was my background, and I got licensed. Crazy thing is, I went through a divorce. I went through life change, and so I ended up getting my license to kind of supplement my income. And next thing I know, I was actually making more money as a licensed real estate agent than I was as a teacher. Crazy thing is, if you hear people say they can't do it in real estate. In 2016, I was still a full-time teacher. I sold $10 million worth of real estate. In 2019, I think I sold $20 million worth of real estate, and I was still a full-time teacher. I didn't quit education until 2019 when Rich Carpentieri came up to me, and he's like, "What the F are you doing? You should have quit education a long time ago." And then of course, business took off from there, because then I was able to devote 100%.
Let's talk a little about that, because there's probably some people in the room that maybe they're not a full-time teacher, but maybe they're not as full-time in real estate as they want to be. Talk about how you still produce at such a high level with a lot less time.
I think it was just commitment. I think a lot of times it's very easy to start your day off and say, I'm going to make a Facebook post, I'm going to make a video, and I'm going to make 5 phone calls, and that's it. I've always treated real estate as my back's up against the wall, and what would I do on a daily basis to provide for my family and provide for my, the kids. And so even though I was teaching, I was still hustling. And so I taught middle school. So the best thing is middle school doesn't start till 9:30. So I was doing real estate from 4 a.m. in the morning till 8:30, and then during lunch, and then after school from 4 to whatever. And so it wasn't easy, but the fruits of our labor. Like, I was able to take my son, we flew up Tuesday to Raleigh, Durham for 24 hours so we could see Pearl Jam in concert. Like, let's be real. Like, that's someone said we do it for time. I do it for like the ability to be able to take my kids and my wife wherever we want to go when we want to do it.
So basically, you're willing to work around the clock to be able to provide freedom for your family.
I was willing to work around the clock.
Willing.
Now I'm much more disciplined with my time. So I'm up at 4 a.m. I probably, on most days, I work 4 a.m. to 12 p.m. If I have afternoon or evening appointments, obviously I do that. But I probably get more done between 4 and 8 than I would say a good portion of realtors and anyone in the industry before.
Tell us about that, because that's the number one thing I was about to ask you is, what do you start doing at 4 a.m. and what are you doing from 4 to 8?
Oh, gosh. So I respond to all my emails at 4. I thought it's a funny story. One time, one of our customers told Richard Abar, who was on the team at the time, he said, "Man, I sent Kevin an email at 3, and I haven't heard from him yet." He goes, "Oh, he'll respond to you at 4 o'clock in the morning." And he screenshot it, and he's like, "Man, you're right. I sent the email at 4:02. So, but I send out about anywhere between 100 to 150 texts a day. I put my phone on airplane mode. I write out all my texts. And once 7 o'clock hits, boom, those texts go out. And so, of course, then from 7 to 8, you're literally dealing with everyone following up.
So you're pre-scheduling texts.
I'm pre-scheduling, and so everything's going.
iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
That's a new feature, though.
No, it's not a new feature. I got to go through. I write them all, and then once I turn the phone on, then I got to go in and hit send to all of them.
Oh, so you used to do it manually.
Yeah, so I type it in and all of that. So, but for the most part, like when I got here today, like for the most part, my day's set. Like, I mean, we've got appointments set up. It's just continuing to follow up with everyone. And it, the afternoon is either appointments or follow-up phone calls. So.
Who are you, like, tell me about these 150, because some people here are like, who would you even, they don't even know who 150 people are. Who would the 150 people be? Give me,
Clients,
like,
past clients. I'll tell you, a moneymaker is go into your Facebook and go into your memories. And if I have a memory with you, I'm screenshotting it and I'm saying, hey, Dominique, remember that time that we were at Drive Shack and we hit a bunch of golf balls and we hit a kid? I'm sending that to her with a picture of it. And so I'm going through, I send video, Facebook, birthdays. Don't send the same generic birthday post. I send a legitimate video wishing you a happy birthday, and I sing to you, and I might say, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to Miss Erica, Queen of Winter Garden. And then I'll say something to her that I like about her. And so I'm doing that, and I'll be honest, it takes me about an hour and a half to 2 hours to do my text every day. I'm sure there's a way to automate it and do it with AI. I haven't gotten there yet.
Love it. That's awesome. All right, so every morning you're basically sitting down, you're pounding it, and you're getting it ready to send out at a reasonable hour, or pre-scheduling now, I'm assuming, right? That's awesome. So what are you sending to the other people? Tell me about what you're sending clients, prospects. Who else are you sending text to? What are they saying?
Clients and prospects, I think it's asking them, if they have questions, if they have feedback. I always want to touch base with my current customers, especially my sellers in this craziness of the market. But it's just staying informed with people. It might be, going to farming. Look, if you know the Lake Nona area, there is easily anywhere between 2 to 5 events every single day. So if it's someone that's thinking of moving to Lake Nona, I'm sending them, hey, did you see this event that we have the Pineapple Festival this upcoming weekend? And no, it's not an upside down pineapple. All right. So it's funny. The ones who laugh knows what that means.
You can start one. It sounds like
yeah, you can start your own upside down pineapple festival. So, but I'm sending the events. I want to make sure that they know what's happening in Lake Nona and even now in St. Cloud. We do a lot of video and podcasts with local businesses. So I'm saying, hey, did you check out my newest video? And of course, no, I didn't. So then I'll send them the link to it because I want them to know. Like we just shot a video with South Orlando Rowing Association. Crew. I've never done crew before, but I got in a boat and we shot a video with crew. And so we've sent that out and I think they've registered like 30 kids since we shot that video. So of course, now the crew people love us. But these families are like, man, my kid did rowing the other day and we've been trying to find him a sport. But thanks to you sent us this video.
Love it. Let's backpedal a little bit and take like a 10,000-foot view. Let's talk about the actual strategy and philosophy and mindset behind staying in Lake Nona, because it sounds like you're basically Lake Nona, St. Cloud. Do you sell in other parts of town?
I'm going to Auburndale tomorrow. In this market, I'll go anywhere, and I have a closing in Windermere tomorrow. But I would say about 75-80% of our business is Lake Nona, St. Cloud, North St. Cloud. And in 2015-ish, it's funny because Peter Liu and I kind of started around the same time. And he wanted to pigeonhole himself in Lake Nona, and I did not. And I did everything I could to not pigeonhole myself in Lake Nona, because I grew up in Orlando, so I know the city very well. And long story short, once it was through farming, at the beginning of 2016, I just started getting listing, and they were all in Lake Nona. So, and that's about the same time we started I have a Facebook page in Lake Nona with about 24,000 residents. And so that's when I've kind of learned to leverage my name and my brand. So that's how we just kind of ended up sticking in the Lake Nona area was through social media and then of course getting the listings, but then we do a lot with schools and with the hospitals. And so teachers are, they may not be able to afford a house right now, but tomorrow I'm closing a $1.2 million house in Windermere that was a referral of a teacher.
Love it.
Yeah.
So, but what I'm hearing from you is you basically picked an area, but you did it by default and now by design, is what I'm hearing.
Correct. It was just, I live there. So I started in my neighborhood and we just slowly expanded out. And most of my business is, people calling us, not the other way around. When I was in Raleigh-Durham, I probably had 3 people call me up to say, hey, we want to list our home. When are you available? And I'm like, not today and not tomorrow. And so we'll get them scheduled. But it's, you want to create your part of the brand is being the expert. And so when I shoot my videos, I always say, hey, this is my name's Kevin Kendrick, and I'm your Lake Nona expert. There might be one or two people that sell more houses than us in Lake Nona, and that's okay. But I always want to say, like, I know when Target's coming. I know when Costco's coming. I know when Tiffany from the 1980s, when she was going to perform her concert in Lake Nona, and why did we pick Tiffany and not Debbie Gibson? But really trying to find out everything about what's happening in our community before it happens. And that's having a relationship with the local businesses, and also for where I live, having a relationship with Tavistock.
Do you have a routine for where you're actually absorbing this data? What are you reading? What are you looking up? What are you following? Like, how do you stay connected aside from meeting with people in the community?
I look at Growth Spotter every morning. I look at Orlando Business Journal every morning. And then it's really just keeping your ears to the grind. Like in my area, neck of the woods, like one day I got a phone call from John Rivers, like 4 Rivers. I was like, why is John Rivers calling me? And he's like, I'm looking for a restaurant. I need space to open up a 4 Rivers in Lake Nona, which we still haven't opened up. This was 2 years ago. And the interesting thing is I said, there's no land for you to build. But here's the 5 restaurants that are probably going in the process of going out of business, or you could buy them out of their lease right now. And they looked into it. And honestly, I could tell you which restaurants are going to be folding in the next 3 to 5 months. But I just think it's having
on camera, but
yeah, don't put that part. But it's literally just having multiple conversations with people from different resources. One day you're with, the CEO or the president of Tavistock, and then he's only going to say so much, but sometimes he slips. And then you're sitting with, someone from the city or from the county, and sometimes they'll slip. You can always go to a permitting office, but that's just kind of where it comes from.
So let's backpedal on 2 of the things. One is, you said when you moved in the neighborhood and you got started, like, what did you actually do? What does starting look like? If someone wanted to start a farming a community, where would they start? What would they do?
I would start in your own neighborhood. Don't ask HOAs for permission. Just
what if they
do
don't
it.
live in a neighborhood they'd want to farm?
If you don't live in a neighborhood, then go find an apartment complex, and I would start farming an apartment complex. And I remember I taught farming at Keller Williams when I was there, and a guy said, I live in an apartment complex, and he goes, they won't let me farm. I said, dude, you got a pool in your apartment complex? He goes, yeah. I said, dude, I would be going to Sam's every week. I'd buy $100 worth of sodas, hot dogs, and condiments, and I would let everyone know that the coolest pool party is right here at the pool, where you're going to be providing hot dogs, sodas, and all that. And dude ended up selling 3 homes by the end of the summer.
Yeah, there was a guy who used to do this at Orlando. I don't know if he still does it, but Orlando City tailgates.
Oh, yeah.
Got into real estate, started just giving out free beer and has his logo on the stuff. And now I think he makes the top 500.
Yeah. So what I did is I asked my wife. We already had an outdoor speaker system. I said, hey, can we buy? This is 2015. Can we buy an outdoor movie theater and a projector? And we started doing movie nights in our community. And here's the thing. So we did and we invited everyone by using door hangers. And here's the thing with postcards. Postcards, no one is really looking at, especially in an election season. So, but door hangers, they're at least looking at the front, and we kind of would watch people. So we guesstimated that we get about a second on each side. So even if they're interested, they got kids, they're going to at least read it and maybe come, and they're going to flip it over and they're going to see our name and our logo. And we've got about a second, whereas postcards, you don't even get that.
We're talking about a second before they toss them in the trash, correct?
Yeah, exactly. But we ended up doing a movie night, and we just did it in our community green space. And the first time we did it, we had about 140 families. Now, this is a community with 1,200 homes. And
Did
it
you
just
hang 1,200 door hangers?
1,200 door hangers. And I printed them. This was before I knew about Vistaprints. And I printed them all and paid for, and tore them apart. And I walked the entire neighborhood. And but we did it for 3 months. And I would always say, any type of farming, you have to do it for minimum 6 months. In fact, now I think it's even 7 months. But January, we almost quit. It was freezing cold. We ended up getting hot chocolate from Dunkin' Donuts. And long story short, I got my first listing in a neighborhood that's been dominated by the same agent for like 15 years. And then the next month I got 2, and then I got 3. And then now in my neighborhood, I list probably 15 to 20 homes a year. And then on top of that, I'm probably working with buyers for another 5 to 10. And realistically, I could just farm my neighborhood, make a good living.
Love it. And how do you pick, obviously you're in the right neighborhood. What about could anyone do that? Does it depend on the neighborhood? What do they need to be looking for when they're picking a farming community?
I picked where I live. I do think there's the analytic side of it is go pick a neighborhood where there's turnover, You know, what people don't realize, Lake Nona is a very transient community, especially Laureate Park. It's going to be very difficult for me to farm Laureate Park because there's like 5,000 homes, and then there's like 5,000 realtors associated with it. You know, but I would look at the analytics, and, you know, you want to be the local expert in your neighborhood or your complex or something like that. But if you wanted to go into another neighborhood, personally, I would make sure you know somebody, because we have gone into other neighborhoods, and when people would say, hey, you're not supposed to be here, you don't belong here, and I'm like, well, Alfredo invited me. It's really Alfredo's event. I'm just the one paying for everything. And so, so we've done it in other neighborhoods as well. Like, we put American flags out every year for 4th of July. And I want to say we put them in like 9 neighborhoods. That's pretty cool, you know, and we're literally walking, putting flags in front of mailboxes, and then we're putting the door hangers the next day. And so but yeah, we've just been, pre-COVID, we were doing something in our neighborhood once a month, every single month. And it wasn't just a movie night. We did pancakes. Pancakes are super cheap. You can do pancakes. She's nodding her head because she knows. Yeah, you can go buy 2 griddles and spend more money on the 2 griddles to make pancakes than you would actually spend on the batter and everything to go with it. And you can feed an entire neighborhood for less than $100. We would do donuts. We did tailgate. I'm a huge college football fan, so we did tailgating. We've done family game night. We've done a little bit of everything. And the whole idea was to bring people together. Now, post-COVID, that's kind of changed. And so now we do a lot more events at local restaurants. We piggyback on theirs. And then, of course, we do a lot of online. Online is a great way.
And are you offering to fill, so are you going, hey, you got a new restaurant, I could bring a bunch of people? Is
Oh,
that kind of how it's going?
Yeah, so when a new restaurant opens up in our community, like Brooklyn Water Bagel just recently, breakfast place. And so somehow I got connected with him. And I was like, hey, when are you doing your soft opening? And he gave me the date. I said, well, would you be interested in doing another soft opening, and I'll fill it up for you? Because his soft opening was all family and friends. I said, you're going to get all positive feedback. Let me invite my people who just happen to all be my past customers. So as a customer appreciation.
Or are you paying for it?
Oh, no, yeah, he's paying for it.
Got it.
So like Cinco de Mayo just recently at one of the Mexican restaurants, sponsored by the Kendrick team. Didn't spend $1. And honestly, I think I was there for 30 minutes.
Would it be worth it, though, if you were doing it and you had a sponsor or 2 with you?
Oh, absolutely. So and one of the things, too, speaking of sponsors, is most of our stuff we don't pay for. You know, when I started off, I wasn't making, you know, it was First American Title and a handful. Everyone gave me like $50 each, and that covered everything. And I was like, man, $50. And now we're asking for, you know, $500, $1,000, $1,500. But you know, obviously,
you're also giving them a lot of business.
We give them a lot of business. They're making a lot of money on it. And so, you know, but we can't be afraid to ask for those people that are supporting us. We got to be able to ask them to be a part of it as well. You know, my roofer.
Especially when you make it a win-win for them.
Oh, exactly.
Because you do a good job actually teeing up your roofer and finding him deals and not just taking his money, I'm assuming.
And here's another thing. Most of us, we think we got to go from the vendors that we see at an event like this. I refer my dentist, bless you. I refer my dentist anywhere between 5 and 7 people a month. A month. And one time I asked him to help cover a breakfast for teachers, and he said, my partner said no. And so I asked him, I said, why don't you go? I didn't think he knew how much I referred. I said, can you go ask Nancy, your front office manager who runs the whole dentist office, can you ask her how much business I sent you all in the last year? And call me back. He called me back and he said, we're good for the 500. I said, no. I said, now it's 1,000 because you doubted me. And I got 1,000, and now I can literally go to that dentist office and ask, because we're literally giving them business.
Love it.
And same thing. How many of you go to your favorite you go to your favorite restaurant, like on a regular basis? I frequent probably 3 to 5 restaurants on a regular basis. I could probably go to any of those restaurants on any given day and say, hey, I need, can you give me $100, $250 worth of gift cards? I like $250. And literally most of these restaurant people, they'll say, yeah, we'll give you $100, $100, and $50. Now give me 8 or 10 25s, because then you get more winners, more prizes. And we leverage those prizes.
And they get a bigger win,
They get it.
Like if you're asking then, you're like, hey, they're going to come spend more money than 25. I don't want someone to go get a free bill. I want them to get a discount. If they
Yeah,
come in.
you can't go to a Mexican restaurant in Lake Nona and spend 25. I mean, you can if you're by yourself, but if you're with two people, you're going to spend 50, 75, $100. So so if Gerardo's giving me $25, and now in return, Dominique wins. Well, Dominique, they're going to spend $100 now, and now they might even turn them into frequent customers.
Love it. How many guys learned something about shaking people down today? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, that's the key. Shake it down. So
I'm going to bring another panelist up, and I'm going to keep you there. So if you can jump over one seat, actually, if that's cool with you. I'm going to bring up Erica. I'm going to read some of this bio and skip some of it. But basically, Erica, she crushes Winter Garden. He called her the queen of Winter Garden, so we'll stick with that. Over $500 million in real estate sales in Winter Garden and the Orlando and surrounding areas. She's a licensed agent, Winter Garden resident, and she's in the top 1% producing teams. It says in Florida, but I'm pretty sure it's in the U.S. So let's give a giant round of applause to Erica Diaz. Also, top 25 agent every year out of only 26,000 others, or 24,000, whatever. Let's talk about the Winter Garden. Let's talk about how you picked your area, because it wasn't always Winter Garden, was it?
Well, no, I started in downtown Orlando, but I kept breeding, and so real estate at the time was much cheaper. So I moved my family out to the cows, which my husband wasn't a fan of. And we really got lucky or blessed, God by design, because we hit it right before it blew up. And then it just blew up. So that was very organic for me. And I would say that a lot of what he said, you just have to put in the effort. If you're not going to do that, like door hanger and get into the new communities and really put your footprint on it, it's going to be a hard startup.
Tell us how you got started.
Yeah.
And what you're doing today to make sure, how you got started, how you picked the farms you focus on, and what you do in them today.
Yeah, well, we picked the neighborhood that I moved into. So it had 400 homes. It was being built. There was no community events in there. He said it best, don't go ask your HOA, just go do it and ask for forgiveness, because no one's going to give you permission to do anything. So we bring Santa to a couple different neighborhoods every year still. We've done Easter egg events, we've done movie events, we've done all sorts of stuff. Again, similarly, pre-COVID, it was a lot more frequent than it is today because of COVID changes. But literally getting your boots on the ground and putting in the effort and door knocking that community with a value. You have to have value. You just can't go door knock the community and be like, hey, I want to sell your house. What's the value that you bring them? And one thing I will say that I disagree with you about is mailers. We have had wild success with mailers, but it matters what you put on them. If you just put just sold, just listed, and it's in my mailbox, you're going in the garbage. But if you give me all the data in my neighborhood that is sold in the last 6 months to a year so that I can be super nosy and I get to scan a QR code and now I just copied all of your data, there's value in that. You have to give value. So that's the only thing I disagreed with you.
I do use postcards, though, but not for my farming events, but for all the data that you just said.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, y'all. Oh, no, we're good. Also, can I just add to what you're saying about mailers?
Yeah.
A lot of people, they'll judge things like direct... I'm cutting in and out audio, guys. They'll judge things like direct mail, but they don't actually study copywriting. So they're like, oh, they just put a mail piece together and they sent it. It's like, I didn't get great results. It's like, well, you're not you didn't do good marketing. So if you just mailed something to people, that's like the most half-assed approach. That's like saying I went on a listing appointment. I didn't have any clue what I was going to say or present or do. I didn't get the listing, but I showed up. It's kind of the same thing when it comes to mail. Like, we sell advertising, and a lot of our people, they buy it, and then they half-ass their ad, and they're like, nobody called me from an ad. And it's like, well, did you put any effort into it being placed well, being positioned well, the marketing, the actual strategy behind it? Do you read about copywriting? I mean, if you want to read about copywriting, there's no better book. Y'all should write this one down. It's called The Bond Letters by Gary Halbert. He wrote all these amazing sales copy letters back in the day when there wasn't giant internet, or when the internet was small. People were writing letters and getting direct sales from letters. People were calling in and buying things and ordering stuff and whatnot. And so they've studied how millions and millions of dollars have been generated from print marketing. Now, I'm not saying that that's the best way to market today, but if you're going to market like that today, why would you not be studying the people that actually know how to drive results with it instead of like throwing something out there and expecting something to happen? I think very often people are overlooking that they should be studying copywriting and studying people like Dan Kennedy, who is a direct marketing expert, or someone else that's really good at like what should be on the mailers.
Well, and one of the things I think for mailers for me that I didn't realize in the beginning, we had one phone number, and that phone number took everything. But you really couldn't source, was that a mailer, was that a sign, was it this, was it that? So when that concept, which seems so infantile, was presented to me, to have tracking numbers so that we knew what we were spending and what the conversion was, it was kind of mind-blowing. I know it sounds silly, but I didn't think that we needed multiple phone numbers. But that's how we can track, did it come from this mailer? Did it come from a sign? Did it come from this when it dumps into the CRM? So we can tell you exactly what we are converting on those mailers. And every time I go to a listing appointment in my neighborhood and a couple other farms, they always have my mailer sitting there. And I'm like, okay, it works, I guess. Because I was not a fan for a long time because I thought it was a waste of money. But in the last 2 years, we have really gotten back to the mailers, but not for farming events, I guess. It's more for data purposes.
One of the listing emails I got while I was in Raleigh was first we were emailing back and forth, and then she's like, oh, by the way, look what I just got. And it was one of our postcards. And we send out postcards. Part of our campaign is 60 touches over the course of 12 months. So it's an email
Say that one more time.
60 touches over the course of 12 months. So everyone in our data.
16 or 60?
60, 60. So it's an email every week, and then it's postcards once a month, and we get about 15,000 emails. We got about a 40% open rate, which is insane. Postcards go out once a month, and then we have a newsletter that goes out every other
What's
month.
in the emails?
The first and third is our listings, and basically us promoting ourselves and the listings. And then the second and the fourth is our video content of us promoting our local businesses. So the one that's actually going to go out today is about the rowing.
How do you feel about people unsubscribing?
It happens. I mean, I think it's a good way to connect with people, especially people you know. So if the teacher that I don't know, if she unsubscribes.
Keep your hands off.
Pardon?
Keep your hands off.
Is she one of yours?
She is.
Yeah. But that may not bother me. But a good example is, like, if I use Dominique, for example, if Dominique's a homeowner in my neighborhood and she unsubscribes, that's a reason for me to call Dominique. So don't look at it as a negative. Look at it as,
What do you say?
Pardon?
What do you say?
I just say, Dominique, hey, I just want to make sure, I saw that you unsubscribed from our email list. I just want to make sure I didn't do anything wrong.
Well, and I think to protect that unsubscribe rate, what you're sending out needs to have value. And I can't say that enough. It needs to have value. Every lender in this room, every title company in this room, if you're using an AI to send us the exact same Happy Mother's Day email, please unsubscribe me from your list today. It has to have value. I don't want to see the same thing 10 times in my email from 10 different lenders. What are you sending out that's bringing value to these people? And leveraging Grok or chat to find what the consumer really is resonating with right now. We're sending out the next mailer, and this one is seller tips in a down market. Yeah, it's 3 top seller tips in a down market. Market's trending downward. It's absolutely declining. So what do you need to be doing to get in front of that curve as a seller, or what can you do to make your home show better so that you don't sit on the market as long? So I felt like that was a value add, but we have to constantly source what we're going to put in front of these people.
What's your frequency of following up with your database? And what are the different methods, like Kevin broke down?
Okay. Our database is a monster. Yeah, okay. How many touches? 32?
Let's backtrack and ask you some easier question. What funnels into your database? So where do you think, and what are the different buckets that go into the database in the first place?
Okay. So where we're getting our leads from,
all your leads are going in the database.
Everything goes into the database.
Your sphere too, I'm assuming.
If the phone rings, it goes in the database, because if you're working on our team, your phone is a follow-up boss phone number. So if your phone rings, it's being recorded into the follow-up boss. So it's dropping into a bucket. And we are very high intent. So if you get a lead, you go into 10 days of pain, and our system is triggering on you for 10 days. And if you don't touch that lead for 2 days, then it dumps into what we call the money pond, and it becomes free game. So anybody can go in and get that lead, but you have to touch 10 times. And our touch plan in the 10 days of pain is a phone call. You can also use text or email. But depending on where they come in and how hot of a lead they are, if you're in one of our farm areas, you're in a much hotter spot than if you're a Facebook lead for us. Our Facebook leads are a little bit more cheap, and they're not as viable as our farm, our website, anything that's coming in direct from our direct mail or something like that. So the action plans are just a little bit different, and they have different plans. But if you're getting into Follow Up Boss for us every day, like you should be, at 8 a.m. and you're going through all your tasks, it's going to tell you what you need to do. So very similarly, if you just use the systems and leverage them, it's going to tell you what you need to do based on where the lead came from and how high of the intent of the lead is.
Got it. So let's break down the system as much as we can, at least. So I'm hearing that you're putting everything that you get, whether it's Sphere, whether it's a call from mailers, whether it's a Facebook lead, is all going to Follow Up Boss. They now are triggering a 10 days of pain where your team has a specific approach to go after and get in touch with them. If they don't get in touch with them in 10 days, it goes somewhere else so someone else can try to get in touch with them?
If you neglect touching them in the 10 days of pain, it reroutes. So it's
To
not
another agent on the team?
It reroutes to the money pond, which is just open game, and anybody can fish. You're allowed to fish on our team any day of the week.
Got it. So there's a specific approach. They've got 10 days to do it. What's the sequence then look like for a lead? Like, what else are they getting from you? How often are they hearing from you? Are they getting mail?
Well,
are they getting invites? Are they getting...
Yeah, as the lead comes out of the lead stage, for us, you never want to keep a lead in the lead stage for really more than 24 hours. You want to drop it into attempt to contact. You want to drop it into the next thing that's going to trigger the next action plan. So farm, let's talk about that. Like, if you're coming in, you're usually a warm call. You're not a cold call. So the warm call comes in, you go immediately into spoke to, and hopefully, because it is a mailer farm, something like that, you'll go into appointment set. And then the triggers are just very different when you're preparing for that appointment versus still just trying to get a hold of someone that might have given you a real name or might have given you a fake name. But we do have other systems to kind of cross-reference for our safety. That's what we use it for, our safety, forewarn only. So you can cross-reference, is this person going to be safe? Is their phone number accurate? Is their name accurate? And of course, again, it's for our safety.
So let's talk about specifically from your farm. Someone passes the safety test, they're a lead in your system. What does their sequence look like?
Okay. So if you come in and you're on appointment set, I don't know how to answer that question.
Got it. How often is your database hearing from you if they're in your farm community?
Oh, monthly for sure, depending on where they're staged. If they're in a hot, they're hearing daily. If
Okay.
they're in a 31 to 60, what is it? What's that one, warm? Yeah, and then cold.
So
And
you
think of-
categorize people based off of what their level of urgency is, essentially,
Right.
and
And
whether
then-
they're 30, 60, 90 days or a year plus out. You've got a different approach to each of them, and your team is just trained to pull everyone through that system
Right.
based off where they are.
And then think of that farm just closed. So they go into a closed status. So now they're in a cold status, but we don't want to keep them there forever because we want to get back to nurturing them. So around their first anniversary, it'll trigger out a happy anniversary. And if you are in that, this is more than the farm, this is just our database, so that I can stay relevant in the organization. On your birthday, on your anniversary, you're going to get a drop voicemail from me that's been recorded through AI, and it's going to say, hey, congratulations, it's been a year in your home. I'm so excited. I can't wait to talk to you. Sorry I missed you today. Let's connect. And your birthday, same thing. So as we get to those milestones, then it'll trigger you back into not a cold status, but something that we can nurture and see maybe you're getting ready to sell. But we're also using Fellow in our database. And if you're not using Fellow, you should probably do it, but it gives us a score. And so if you're bored one day in our office and you are low on leads and you want to search by the farm and you want to search by the fellow score, anybody in our farm that's popping over a 50, 60, you need to be on the phone with them because they are searching the internet, looking at real estate. They're doing something to pop those numbers that high. And I can tell you what, if you call them, they might say they're not looking to move, but they are. And you call them again and you call them again, and then you'll figure out that they are
So
looking
you have
to
data
move.
that they are.
Yeah.
Just like when you watch your, like a lot of people, they blast out emails, they don't keep track of the trackers. They don't look at delivery reports, so they never actually realize who's responding or who's opening. Like I put trackers on almost every email I send. In fact, this is just a random tidbit, but there's a program, a Gmail extension if you're on Gmail, and it's called followup.cc. And I can send an email to Kevin, and I can set a trigger that says to resend it to him or resend it to me if he doesn't open it within X number of days, if he doesn't respond within X number of days, or send to me in a week anyway, so I remember to call Dominique, whatever it is. But every message can be set on one of these automated things, and it makes everything a hell of a lot more efficient because I know when Kevin opened my email, and I know when he didn't. So if I'm trying to reach somebody about something and they're clicking on the link, I know they're clicking on the link. I'm going to be like, Kevin, I see you're clicking on this link. How come you didn't register for the party or whatever? I'm making up the thing. But you can tell that they're engaging with the stuff, and that's essentially what you're telling me Fellow does too.
Well, it does.
And it does it on the internet, not just like on an email.
Yeah, it does. And it's great to start your farm. You're in your neighborhood, you're doing a community event, you're hiring Santa, and you're getting some people in your database. But then you grow your database to 28,000 people. How in the world do you manage that? Like, you can't talk to 28,000 people. You've got to leverage systems.
And that's why I have a team.
And that's why we have a team. But we want to stay hyper local, and we want to feel like I know everything that's going on with you. I called you on your birthday. I called you on your home anniversary. I saw you at the farmer's market. I mean, the photographer, he's going to be at Runway to Hope this weekend. Like, I know his schedule. I know his life because we're involved in that community. We're not. We're going to be at a different charity. But, like, I want you to feel like I know what's going on personally in your life.
I want to ask you a question, but it looks like Kevin wants to jump in for a second. Was there something you
Well,
wanted to
I was
say?
just going to say, we use a program called Emma to send out our emails because we send out, we can't send it through Follow Up Boss because there's too many. So, but Emma allows you to literally, like on our listings. So if I see 25 people clicked on one of our listings, but the same person clicked on it 15 times, I'm calling them. Like, and I can now try. I know what they've clicked on. I know everything about it. So we look at our Emma data, not as much so as our open rate and our click rate, but we look to see who's clicking on what. And the cool thing is because we have sponsors in our emails that we send out, if someone clicks on the new roof email multiple times, now I'm sending those to my sponsors. So of course they're happy because they're like, hey, I just got 20 leads this month from Kevin, and 7 of them bought a new roof.
Let me add something too. You can know when they're clicking. So like, for example, when I sold closing gifts, if I sent something to Julia Bell, and it's been 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks, and she's kind of like on my back burner, but I noticed that Julia's opened my price list 3 times today. That means like, oh my God, she's looking at this again. So I may call her and say, hey, I just wanted to check and see it. And she's like, oh my God, I was just looking at your price list. And I'm like, that's crazy. And you'd be surprised how often those types of things, or they're getting forwarded. So you should want to track this stuff, you know, and know when the email, hey, they're opening an email from 2 months ago over and over again. Or it's not always over and over. Sometimes it means they forward it to someone. So she sent it to Precious, and Precious just opened it. And I'm seeing, okay, something's triggering 4 clicks in the last day. You know, you want to track that stuff. Let's backtrack and go just to your farm, and then I want to bring up Suzanne. Let's talk about before they're in the database, just farming an area. What are you doing to farm? Do you have areas you farm? What are you doing to farm? And what are some of the things you're doing to turn them from a resident of an area into someone that's in your database?
So, I mean, in the beginning, like I said, we started in our neighborhood. We started with community events, but then it needs to go a little bit wider than that. And for us, give back is very important to us. So we started to partner with local charities and serve at, what's the place called? The thrift store. We tried to serve at the thrift store. We run back to school events where we collect inside of our farm areas. And at the office, we collect a bunch of back-to-school backpacks and stuff. And then in that event, you can bring your kid and get a free haircut. And what parent, I've got a lot of kids, so this is very much my farm. What parent doesn't want to go one place, get all their kids' haircuts, turn them loose on a water slide, feed them some sugar, bring a backpack, and then go home? Like, it's perfect. There's a lot of chaos in it, but for me, chaos is sitting in a barber shop or a hair cuttery or whatever with my 4 kids like little statues. It just doesn't work. So we had to create a lot of events within the farms and then within the community so that we could stay relevant in the farm and then stay relevant in the community. So if that means going to downtown Winter Garden on a Saturday, which is not something I enjoy. I'm a little introverted, extroverted. So in my downtime, I don't like being social, which is funny. But we go, we are social, we see everybody we know. And then the other thing I was gonna say about farming, which I just forgot it. I don't know, do you wanna add anything to that?
If you wanna know how to start farming, do a shredding event. And the cool thing is the shredding truck will cost you about $450 to $500. But then something cool that we've done too is our city commissioners and our county commissioners all do shredding events. So I just piggybacked on my city commissioner's event. I captured all the contact information.
Yeah.
The city of Orlando paid for everything. All I did was show up, and now I'm selling houses.
Well, and another thing too, so trick-or-treating, right? Again, we're very kid-centric. So we do water bottles that are a little bit better than, your melts in the dishwasher one. First year it absolutely was. Stuffed them with the big candy bars, put our information in it, put a bounce house in my front yard, bought a 500-pound pumpkin and said, if you guess the weight, you win X. So everybody wants to come to my house for Halloween. I mean, I don't know about my agents. They have to. It's a work event. But the kids in the community, they all want to come to my house. And the kids will be like, I have your water bottles from the last 5 years. So it's simple as just being available for trick-or-treating. And maybe you can't afford the water bottles yet, but you can go to Costco and you can get the big candy bars and do something like that, or get a sponsor and do a bounce house in your front yard. You'll be amazed at how many kids are in your front yard, and hopefully your neighbors like that. But my house is known as the fun one for Halloween because that's one event that we sponsor.
Our Halloween is the movie, so we'd always have
Yep.
a movie going on in the front yard. We have a photo booth, but we purchased our own photo booth. And then to the flip side, we don't give the big candy bars. We've had Pig Floyd's come out and donate food. Pig was never charged us. Chick-fil-A. We've done hot dogs. We give beer to the adults. So where hers, the kids want to go there. Ours, the parents are like,
we
let's go to the
serve
house
alcohol.
and get the free beer.
We definitely have alcohol too.
Let's stay on this for a second. I want both of you to, I'm right here, sorry, to talk back and forth for a second about, let's hear your top 3 or 4 events that you've run. Give me kind of a rundown of what they look like, who you invite, how you invite them, how you pull it off, what it costs, what kind of results it gets. Give me a couple different events, like we do this, here's how we do it, here's what happens, and we'll flip.
Our best online event that we've done this year is go find concert tickets or basketball tickets or what have you. And I've given away any show, basically, and put it on social media and, literally, but after they give you all their contact information, do a checklist that says, I want more information on buying a house, selling a house, new roof. There's like 5 boxes and, 6 boxes. And then the last one is, I just want to win tickets. Well, here's the cool thing. 70 to 80% of the people are going to just want to win tickets. But the 20% that check a box, they're now saying, call me. I want your help. And we did a Thanksgiving giveaway. We had 1,500 people sign up. And we had 35 people check the box that they wanted to sell a house, and we've already listed 10 of those houses. And you know how much it cost me? Nothing, because all the businesses donated gift cards for our Thanksgiving giveaway. And so online giveaways are huge. I would say our best ones in person. I think Halloween's big, but I always like doing it cheap. We would just do pancakes on the green and invite our entire community to come out. It's not about how many come. It's about making sure everyone's invited. And so now over the years, we probably have about 75% of the phone numbers. And so I'll do a slide dial. Does everyone know what slide dial is? If you don't know what slide dial is, Google it. But I can literally call and I can say, hey, it's Kevin. I just want to make sure you know about our pancake breakfast this Saturday morning from 9 to 11 on the green space. Sorry I missed you. And long story short, I can send that out to 750 phone numbers. And it goes straight to their voicemail. And it shows a missed call. And I get a bunch of people calling me back. oh my gosh, I'm so sorry I missed your call. And I'm like, yeah, I want you to call me back. So
That's for
it's
sure.
all about the touches.
It's funny you say
the
that because
multiple
when
touches.
we first got on Bonzo, I thought it was going to slide dial you and leave a voice message. So it was 5 o'clock on a Friday, and I voice messaged the top 500 agents in Greater Orlando to say, like, hey, just wanted to make sure you know about the party coming up or whatever. And 500 agents in Greater Orlando, the best agents, all got a missed call from me. So I got about like 295 phone calls within the next 5 minutes, and the thing went crazy, and I couldn't handle it all weekend. It took me all weekend to respond to all the messages. I had to have VAs on call, and so that's
So-
always really good technology. Let's hear about your events.
I think if you're new, just sitting down with your calendar and planning out some events, because it's for my little ADHD brain, I want to do everything, but I got to realize I can't. So if you take a calendar and, start from June, it's summer, great, perfect time, and go to the next June. Like, what are you going to do? And then one of the other free things, so Santa's our best event, ADHD kicking in hard. We invite everybody, Santa comes. He happens to be a roper. If you're familiar with Winter Garden, that means something to you. He's not actually a roper, but we'll go with it. So then he goes to the bar that they own immediately after. And then it's like, oh, I was at the Diaz team party, and I've got Santa and Mrs. Claus who own the city of Winter Garden saying that they were at our party, and then now they're buying, somebody in the Roper family is buying a house, and who do you think they called? They called me. So being involved in your city, people that are important, influential, and having, like, giving back and working with them is really important, but planning your calendar out. And then Facebook groups, like giveaways, you want to go on the cheap, right? Something I started, I'm not divorced, I'll lead with that, but I started a divorced moms group because I started getting a lot of divorcees, divorce situations, and I could get them through their real estate, but when we got onto child sharing. So just being present and relevant in there, being mindful about not running contests in there. Then I'm also part of a mom group. So yesterday or 2 nights ago, I sent out a little post like, oh, I'm so overwhelmed, blah, 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 blah. 75 people respond. I was like, that's my clue that we're having a mom's night at my house. Yay.
Love it.
So everyone will BYOB. Yeah. Who's going to be so overwhelmed that it's time to sell their house? But there will be 35 moms complaining about life, and I'm going to listen and listen closely.
Love
And it's
it.
not going to cost anything. So it's just about being intentional with your time and then planning it out for me. And it doesn't have to be expensive. That mom's night at my house literally will cost me $25 in wine, and I'll have 35 moms. And I think they drive the bus when it comes to selling houses.
Love it. So we talked a lot about what you're doing in communities you either live in or going to, but I need to bring somebody up who has a completely different approach, and the combination of the two would be pretty deadly. Let's bring up Suzanne Docobo. She's an award-winning 5-star real estate agent. She sells in Southeast Florida and Central Florida, ranks in the top 1%. She's in the Orlando Magazine top 100, and she sold like $70 million in Margaritaville a few years back. Coming from South Florida, not living in Central Florida. So I want to ask her a few questions, and then I'm going to have all of you answer a few of the farming things. But let's tell your quick story about how you ended up in Margaritaville, how you found it, and then what you did to kind of take it over before it was built. If you could hold that real close to your. We're originally from South. Do we have it off? Hold on. I got it. Okay, we can switch. That's fine. It's probably just off.
So we're originally from Southeast Florida, and I was about 2017 looking for a client for new construction all over Florida. So it wasn't really quick, but like 3 to 4 hours into my search, I actually found Margaritaville. And at that time, I kind of looked at it, and it wasn't built yet. It was, pretty much dirt in a dream. And I put down a deposit for myself because I saw a $1,000 deposit refundable. Why not put it back? My husband came home. I said, I bought a house today. He said, you did what? But anyway, so we found the project, and we started communicating with the owners. We started a Facebook group. So a Facebook group for the owners before the project was built. So after, fast forward a year later, owners started, getting their contracts. They started building the projects, and a lot of the builder was not doing the things that he was supposed to do, which happens in a lot of new construction communities, unfortunately. So what I did was I went and kind of talked to some of the owners in the group, got some of the smart people, different people, a professor from a university, another person who was really big in real estate, and kind of started writing letters to the builder, the developer, and also to the Margaritaville brand, just to kind of push the owner's agenda. So that was kind of like back in 2017. I didn't even realize I was farming, honestly, so I wasn't even planning on doing that. I just kind of helped the community to get some common sense owner protections passed, caps on our increase in our increases for our HOA and for our club. Also just getting some landscaping that they took away from us. Just kind of making sure that people were getting what they actually paid for in the house. So I did that for about a year, and then fast forward, and then the first ones closed in about 2018. I think the end of 2018 was the first ones that actually closed. And then people started coming to me and they said, hey, aren't you a realtor? And I was like, yeah. And I'm like, I'm in South Florida, but I'm a realtor. They're like, well, you've done all this work for like a year for us, and you've done, more about this community than anybody. You've really helped us. You've really done so much good for us. We have to sell. Unfortunately, our first client, his wife, had a disease, which was very terrible. So they had to sell. They weren't going to be able to spend as much time there as they thought they were going to. So that was my first sale there. And then it turned into 1, into 2, into now we've sold 65% of all the resales in Margaritaville history. It's not 70 million. It's definitely about 250 million we've sold.
It was in a year, though, right? You did 70
in
million.
a year, and
you
yes,
had a year
okay,
that
all
was
right,
70
in
million.
1 year. Okay, gotcha. Yes.
But 250 million plus, and that's all post-COVID, correct?
Say that again.
All of that's post-COVID, the 250 million.
Yes.
Yeah, you thought we were messing around today.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but best year, 70 million plus in the neighborhood, 250 million in the neighborhood
Yes.
total.
Yes.
But just to backtrack, so the first thing aside from putting out a deposit, you've built a Facebook group for the
Yes.
residents of the community
Yes.
without even the intention of turning it into real estate sales. You just wanted to connect people together. Was it the first Facebook group in that community?
It was not. And so there was another Facebook group in the community, and I joined that Facebook group, but I didn't really like the way the admins were running it, and they were kind of letting some nonsense go on in there, and there was a lot of people that weren't owners. So I started my own Facebook group. So one of the things that I would say to you guys is don't have limiting beliefs. It's a limiting belief to think that a community already has a Facebook group, and so you can't start a new Facebook group. You can be different. You can differentiate yourself. You can be the, as Erica has said over here, be the information source, be for the community. And just, I think our page is very relevant because we vet everybody in the page, with the property records. You get a lot of, I don't know about your groups that you have, but we get lots of fake profiles, and we get, 20 people a week, and one is real.
Especially in the divorce sector, yes. So we have to vet that very high.
Yeah, it's really getting
Kevin,
really
same thing?
worse.
Do you have issues with this, Leonana?
Well, not really, but to your point, though, we created a new neighborhood Facebook page, and everyone told us we couldn't do it. And literally, we did 8 straight weeks of door hangers with a QR code that said New North Lake Park Facebook page, and then we sent out 2 postcards, and we pretty much shut the other guy down in 2 months. And so now I control the content on the page versus the guy who wasn't a real estate agent. He was just some guy who wanted to do whatever.
Well, and the one thing I think, we're talking about like kind of riches and niches. I know there's a house in my neighborhood that you will sell if they ever sell it, but that's not his niche. I know that when I had a guy that wanted to place $10 million in Margaritaville, who did I call? I called her because she knows everything. It's not to say she can't sell outside of it. It's not to say he can't sell outside of it, but knowing everything intimately backwards and forwards of your niche market, that's where you become very powerful, I think.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that a lot of people call us. Erica called us. We've done a couple deals together now. And we always try to make the other agent look good. We're very collaborative. We know everything about the neighborhood. So one of the things that, and you don't have to, obviously it sounds like a lot when you're saying, oh, all of Margaritaville, but you can really do this in any neighborhood. You just really have to literally take the time, read the HOA rules, read the bylaws, read the club documents if there's a club. Know in our community it's a lot of Airbnbs, a lot of investors, but also a lot of people that want to spend time there. Know the different rental managers and who's good for who. Know that you can also do long-term rentals in Margaritaville. They don't tell you that at the sales office. There's a lot that they don't tell you at the sales office because they have their own agenda, right? So know all the other things that you can help, and also understand. There's other things that we kind of do as well. I mean, literally.
I was just about to ask, what are the other things you do in
Yeah,
the community? You talked about in the
Right.
hurricanes. Tell
Yeah,
them a little bit
yeah,
about some of the
yeah.
activity you're doing to be relevant in the community.
Right. So we do a lot of lead with contribution. I know that's very Keller Williams, but it's very, very true. So we, if there's a hurricane coming, there's a lot of people in our neighborhood who aren't local and they really need help. So we'll go ahead and we'll put a note out in the Facebook group and we'll say, hey, does anyone need help with bringing their furniture inside? And we literally will make a list, we'll make a route, we'll go around, and we will literally help everybody that needs help. Maybe doesn't have a rental manager, maybe just wants someone to check on the house. Obviously everyone's really scared about hurricanes. So we'll do that, and literally 3 years later, I had someone call me and said, hey, you helped me with my furniture 3 years ago. You helped list my house now. They remember that. They
How
remember
big's the
the little
house when
things.
they call you with that? How big of a house are we talking?
How big of a house?
Yeah.
How much furniture did I move?
Like, well, no, I'm talking.
I
like,
have a team. I didn't do it all by
I'm talking like
myself,
what
by the
size
way.
listing is this person calling you over for doing the furniture?
This was probably $1 million listing.
So,
this
just
one,
want to I just
yeah.
want to point that out because we're not talking about small homes. We're talking about homes that,
Yeah,
are
our-
significant. So the effort, it can compound pretty quickly.
Absolutely. Our community it has 700 properties between regular homes and townhomes, between 500,000 and 1.8 million is probably the range in price. But we do all kinds of stuff. So in the Facebook page, we try to stay ahead of things. We let everyone know what's going on in the community, what's coming up, what new restaurants are coming up. We'll do little videos with the owners of the restaurants. We also let people know, obviously, what's changing with the HOA dues and stuff like that. A lot of people don't understand their documents, so when I see in the group a lot of people are confused about something, another piece of advice is I'll say, hey, we're going to host a Zoom, and I'll take a poll of 3 different times and days, let people vote, and then I'll host a Zoom for an hour, let all the people join and answer all their questions. One of the things you want to do is you want to get off being just a Facebook name on a page. You really want to get to know the people in the group. That goes a really, really long way. One of the rules in our group is you will communicate outside of Facebook, not just inside of Facebook. It actually is a rule that if I want to call you and talk to you and you will not talk to me, that you will not be in the group. It's literally a rule because we want to create communities. We're not just creating, Facebook social media posting, right?
Love it. So you're getting their info collected, I'm assuming, then at the front?
Absolutely.
What do you ask them to join the group? What are the questions they have to answer?
Well, the first question is, are you an owner? So when you have an owner's page, obviously there's different types of Facebook pages, but in this page, are you an owner, yes or no? So that's a big one. Then we ask what property address they are, what their name, email, and phone number is. A lot of people use different names than their Facebook names, so you got to check that. We also ask what their closing date is. And the reason we do that is we go to the property record cards for every single person that requests access, and we look. And you'd be surprised how many people are impersonating other people. If you don't know your closing date and you can't get your address right, or you're giving me some random BS, you're not, just delete. I don't even have time for that. So I'm only going to let people in the group that are legit. If you see a page that's newer or just something doesn't look right, probably isn't right, So call that person, email that person, make sure they're a real person before you let them in the page.
Love it. What was the thing you were telling me about? You have a friend that has all these groups and they have different names. Give me, without telling me the names of them, but give me kind of the strategy you were sharing.
So obviously we're always trying to grow. We've done this in Margaritaville, now we're doing it in another community. I went to recently, actually last week, we just went to Arizona with some top producing agents. And there's this one girl that she has 150 Facebook groups now. She has 6 VAs to help her run it. But what she's doing is she looks at all the stats for the people that are relocating to her area. And then what she does is creates a Facebook group for each one. So, for here, moving from Phoenix to Orlando, moving from, different ideas like that. And what she's done is she's created those groups, people join them, and then she becomes the voice of information and the voice of everything. And she's gotten a ton of leads from that, and she runs her whole business just off those Facebook groups.
So what I'm hearing is everyone on this panel has a Facebook group.
Multiple.
Everyone has multiple groups? Love it. Same here.
Well, and then in my farms, because we have owned houses in those farms, I am in all of those Facebook groups. So I don't know that maybe you would be able to post hey, I just listed this house in that because you're not in it. But I am in all of those farm groups still. The ones that I don't currently reside in, I'm a little more gentle with my posting because I think they might want to kick me out one day, but I am a little bit more gentle and still try to stay active in those other groups. So if you own a house in a community, you really should be active in those Facebook groups because that is our avatar for transactions right now is the Facebook profile. It's not so much the TikToker.
Yeah, and even if you don't run the group, you should be showing up in the group. I would be showing up because they see you, they know you, they get to know you. I tell this to our advertising partners. They got to talk. You know, they got the top 500. Suzanne's jumping in and asking a question, or Erica's saying, "Hey, who's the expert at Margaritaville?" And Kevin's like, "Oh, call Suzanne." And I got a whole bunch of people that want to meet all three of you, but they say nothing in the group. And I'm always laughing, like they should want to be in the middle of that conversation.
Well, and my husband said, like Friday, I posted a dog and an arm, like at a Ring camera going in a house. My husband was like, "You just gotta stir shit up, don't you?" And I said, "I'm not doing that. I don't even have an opinion. I don't care. Watch it. It'll take care of itself." I mean, and I was just like, "Okay."
I posted on her comment about 5 o'clock in the morning.
There you go.
Reading through all of the comments about the post that she made. So
I thought it was great.
I think one Facebook page, because some people say, well, there's already one started in my neighborhood. You can always, we already shared, you can do that. I started a Parents of Lake Nona High School page. Yeah. I have over 3,000 parents, and guess who I now have the personal cell phone number with? The principal, because she's on that page. And I don't do anything to make the school look bad, but of course parents will be parents and make smart aleck comments. And she'll call me and she's like, "Can you take that comment down? Can you do that?" And I walk her through it. But we have an amazing relationship with the high school. We already had a good relationship. Now it's great. Like tonight's their spring football game, and I get to go hang out on the field. I don't have to sit in the hard bleachers. I get to stand, but they're like, "Hey, do you want to be a part of the team tonight?" Yeah, like, who doesn't? That'd be cool. We're going to take a ton of pictures, and that's going to, hey, what real estate agent's hanging out with the Lake Nona High School football team? One. And that's, and for some people, they may not say that, or going to teachers, going to schools. You may not get business from the schools, from the teachers per se, but there's a lot of teachers in my community, I know her community, probably all throughout the areas that we work, that their spouse makes a nice income, or they always have someone that has an income. And pre-COVID, we probably sold 20 to 25 houses a year to teachers and nurses. Now it's 20 to 25 referrals from teachers to them.
Really quick, break down what you're doing to farm those areas, like fire departments, police departments, teachers, nurses. What are the things you're doing?
Everyone likes food, and they like free stuff. So, I mean, yes, my background's education, so it's easier for me to get in the door because I know the language. But if you literally go to a school and you're like, "Hey, look, I'm a local business owner," you don't have to say real estate agent. I want to bless your teachers. I want to bring Dunkin' Donuts, Chick-fil-A. I brought my caterer. I dropped a $1,000 catering bill to a group of teachers a week or two ago. They will let you in. You might have to go and fill out the background form and do the background check and all of that. But then we capture their information. We do little tickets. And once again, same thing, name, email address, phone number, and then circle. I want more information on buying a home, selling a home, retirement planning, new roof. And they circle that stuff, or homeowner's insurance. And they're telling us who wants the information. Like, they want us to call you. And so you can go to those places. I will say hospitals, you got to do it by floor because they're not up and down, or you do it at shift change. We rented a food truck. You can rent a coffee truck or like a donut truck, and we put it at shift change where the employees walk in and out. And so we were capturing about 200 plus people as they were leaving or as they were coming to work.
Love it.
And guess what? When you do the entrance to the hospital where the employees come in, you also get all the doctors.
That's awesome. Do either of you want to add something, Erica?
Well, I think high impact, low cost. We haven't been doing it as much recently because honestly, the market's tough and we're pounding the pavement harder than we've ever done. But just pop buys. If you would pick like 5 places once a week. We would provide the donuts or voodoo donuts or whatever it was. And then you just go and pop by, whether it's your State Farm agent that we collaborate with, or your fire department right there, your police department right there, whatever it is. It's just, again, being present in where you want to farm, being present in all of it, not just in that neighborhood, but being present in all of it.
If you reached out to your entire database and you said, hey, this Friday I'm going to be at Dunkin' Donuts at 9145 Narcoossee Road, and I've got 22,000 people in my database. Here's the cool thing, and I'm going to cover coffee and donuts. I'll still get less than 100 people to show up.
Love it.
It won't cost me a lot of money, but here's the crazy thing. There will be people who say, hey, can I still get a donut later? I can't make it before that or after that. Or sorry, I missed you this time. Hey, can you do something in my community? Can you come to my place of work? And so because you're doing it. It's the repetition of doing it over and over and over again.
And
I
people,
love
the memory matters. Like a lot of people forget, like you're trying to get a lead and you're trying to be remembered and you're trying to be top of mind. You don't really care who you had to buy coffee for or didn't. No. So like, for example, when I invite all the agents to come to this, I don't care about the ones who didn't come in the room. I care about the people in the room learning. I care about the other people feeling like they missed out. Like seeing it and realizing, oh, I'm sorry, I missed the event. I should have been there, and seeing the pictures is just as valuable for our business as spending the money for the person to be there, I think. How many of you guys learned something so far? Make some noise. I have another question or two to ask Suzanne, and the two of you might jump in as well. But don't forget, PJ Crescenzo is buying the first $500 with the lunch shortly, and make sure you register for next month's session. Suzanne, tell us about your next community, because I feel like we told the story of what you did in Margaritaville, but you've already duplicated it to some extent. And you picked a new community, you stayed ahead on it, and you've already started farming a community that is not developed yet, and I believe sold 22 lots there.
Yes.
Can you tell that story and then maybe some of the lessons people could take from it, because you don't want them selling that community, but maybe like how they could pick the next one and what to do?
So one of the things that I do is on Facebook, everybody kind of knows that it has algorithms, right? So I like and I comment on every single real estate community in Florida. Anytime I see something, I like it and I comment. So Facebook kind of shoots it back at me. So I see all the new communities first, way before they come out. And this particular day, I was up at 6 a.m., and I can't say I'm always up at 6 a.m., but I was up at 6 a.m., I'm scrolling, and, you see a lot of communities, you're like, same old, So I came, I'll even say the community. I came across a community called the Shores at Tranquility, which is located in Titusville. And it's very, very interesting because they were selling lots and they were building a master plan community right across from NASA, SpaceX, the launch pads. I mean, it just looked super interesting right on the intercoastal, So I was looking at it and I wanted to call them at 6 a.m. I'm like, it's a little early. Maybe I should wait. So I waited till 7 a.m. I called at 7 a.m. and I expected to get an answer machine, but they answered and Jim answered the phone and I was like, hey, how you doing, Jim? And he's like, hey, how you doing? And he's an early bird, So I was talking to him and he was telling me about the community. I'm like, it sounds really interesting. And he's like, yeah, you should come out to our sales event on Saturday. So I said, Jim, you don't really know me yet, but I'm not waiting till Saturday. When can I come out and see it? So he said, come out tomorrow. I'll meet you there in the morning. We'll meet early in the morning tomorrow. So went out to the community, got there a little early because it's on the East Coast. I knew that there was going to be the sunrise over the water. I wanted to see where the lots were located in terms of the sunrise and kind of what I felt, where the animals were at that time of the day, the dolphins, all that stuff. So walked along, the lots, met with Jim. By the end of that day, I had already decided, I put my money where my mouth is. I generally don't sell things unless I will invest in them. I'm also a CPA and investor by trade before all this. That's how I kind of transition into being a realtor. So we put a deposit down on a lot, and then immediately I started hitting my investors. I immediately started hitting, putting Facebook posts out, sending out to my day-to-day campaigns, calling people, a lot of times following up. People don't always check their emails, people I thought would be interested. I have one client that's actually, he goes around and he studies all of the solar eclipses and he speaks all over the world and he's a local. It's like, this is perfect for this guy, So I went ahead and did that, and then by the time the sales event came around on Saturday, it started at 10 a.m. I had sold 22 lots before the sales event started. And this community is so sought after that by 10:05, everything was sold out. So if I wouldn't have done that, if I wouldn't have got ahead of it, I mean, it's hard to find that gem, that diamond. You know, obviously I looked at hundreds of other communities that I wasn't super interested in, but I saw the opportunity here. And then also another thing that we did that was so grateful I did is that the solar eclipse guy, he couldn't come out that day. It wasn't a good time. You know, couldn't come see it. Was off with his family. You know, so what we did is we put some lots under contract that were assignable. Made sure that they were assignable. And so we put about 5 of those lots under contract, and then we assigned them all and got the real estate commission and found buyers for them after, because we knew it was going to be sold out. So obviously, that's just a super cool community. Now it's a couple years later. They're starting to build. Houses are starting to build. Of course, we did a Facebook group. We go to all the owners' events. We get to know everybody. We're trying to connect everyone. We've held some Zoom calls to talk about the 5 different builders, what different people are doing to build their houses, what, you know, kind of features they have, what they like, what they don't like, what's been good, what's been bad. So that's been a really good way to build community. And it's really exciting. So we're, you know, with these lots, you have 5 years to build out there. So you got some time, and it's a really exciting project.
Are some of these people the same that you sold at Margaritaville that
Yes.
also over there?
Yes. So, you know, obviously, we don't always put out there, hey, you got to buy this now. That's like not our style. So when we do that, people really watch us. So, yeah, we sold some of the lots to some investors in Margaritaville who are really excited to build out there. Some other people have already resold their lots, and I got to say they're 100% profit.
Love
the
it.
lots, the intercoastal lots were about 480, and now they're going for about $1 million.
I got to ask you 2 questions about this. One is, how do you pick these communities to be looking for up front? Obviously, like, you decided you liked it, but how would someone go about picking a community that's upcoming that would be worth them investing in?
I think it's always, obviously, easiest to start where you live, okay? If you start in your neighborhood, I really find that hyper micro farming and marketing works best because you're in one neighborhood. You're an expert at that neighborhood. It's a lot easier also if you have, you know, your listings and your buyers all in one neighborhood. You're running around one neighborhood. You're not running around like a chicken to every other, you know, county and city around. So I think start local would be, and look for something that's interesting to you. I mean, these were interesting to me. I you know, just kind of came across it, I guess, by dumb luck scrolling at 6 a.m., but was also smart enough to look into it right away and to be first. I think when you start in a community, when it's being built from the ground up, you can really help build the community, and helping build the community really gets your footprint in there early, and then you can really dominate that particular neighborhood.
Love it. And also, Kevin talked about reading Growth Spotter or Landis Business Journal and stuff like that, so you could probably also spot some of these things from that. Talk about how because what I'm hearing as well is that you've built a sphere, or let's just use the term farm, non-physical, of investors. You've built a database of investors over the years, it sounds like, or at least talk a little bit about how, not just like we talked about how to spot a community, how to build a Facebook group, how to follow up with that community forever, but talk about how you built a group of investors that you could pitch these things to.
Absolutely. I would say my best advice is join investor clubs. If you guys are interested in investing yourself, which everybody in this room should be, you can make a lot of money in real estate. Don't just give all the deals to your clients, you know. But I joined a company called Fortune Builders. It was a great training program. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of it. It's based out of San Diego. That's one of the organizations that we joined, and we just really started meeting people and going to all the events and, you know, sharing information and creating connections. It was great for real estate, for referrals, but also to build our database, because it was people that were investment minded, the people that think a little differently, right? So during the years, we've basically added all those people to our database. Whenever we have a good opportunity, we talk to them. We'll, like I said, we'll do calls, we'll do emails, we'll also do Zoom calls explaining the communities, because I find that's very helpful to get the face-to-face, and you can't always go talk to every single person individually. So Zoom has been amazing for us.
And I know you travel a lot to real estate events and have a pretty big referral partner network.
Yeah.
Are you ever pitching their investors, or are you ever like Kevin is an agent in Phoenix, and you're like, dude, Margaritaville, you're going to want to sell this, and you tell him about it, and he pushes it. Like, do you have connection where you have referral partners also tapping their sphere, and if so, what do you do?
100%. I think investors want to look for investments everywhere. Everybody just wants good investments. They're going to have good return. Not every investment is for everybody. And there is always some risk involved, but yeah, we always pitch. I like them to pitch me their investment ideas too. It might be something I want to invest in.
So if I'm hearing you right, if people go to the right events and they have the right relationships intentionally, they could maybe find like 10 people like you in 10 other markets or 20 people like you in 20 other markets and then repeat this thing 10x. Is that fair?
Exactly. And then those relationships, you build them over time, and and then I get connections from the connections.
Love
you know,
it.
I did a good job, hey, that you got me an investment, 100% return. You got to call Suzanne, so it comes around, goodwill, paying it forward, sharing, be open. We don't hide our investments, we share.
Are there schools or police stations or hospitals inside of Margaritaville?
No.
No. Are there community events?
There are, okay, yes. Well, so we also, another thing I will say is be yourself, be fun, Like, obviously, there's a lot of, we do events here where we have people in Margaritaville. We did a murder mystery party. It was super fun. And, of course, people are a little nervous, but we assigned everyone a character. We did this whole thing. And what was kind of cool about that, we had everyone over our house. Is that it forced people to talk to people they would normally talk to because their character had to talk to other characters. And by the way, you can buy this online for $100. Google it. You can have a whatever kind of murder mystery party you want. But that is such a memorable event, and everyone still talks about it. So be creative, think outside the box, and yeah.
All right, Kevin, Erica, do either of you have something you want to add or share with the group that we didn't already talk about that we should have?
I'll just piggyback earlier when she was talking about hurricanes, since we are in Florida. And because I am up early, I buy a ton of water. Because, and during COVID, me and Richard, we bought all the toilet paper. Because teachers didn't have the opportunity to go out and prepare for the hurricane. And so then we're posting specific to teachers, hey, teachers, who needs water? And then we would go and we would take them the water, and then we'd snap a photo, and then we would send it to them, and of course then they would share it, or they would tell. But literally, I would say the last 10 hurricanes, I've probably delivered, 50 cases per hurricane. And a lot of times it's to the single moms who are teachers that don't have the ability to leave their job, because let's be real, Orange County Public Schools is the last one to cancel school. Osceola and Seminole usually cancel a day or two, but leverage those potential tragedies and turn them into a positive, because I have the flexibility to go buy water and toilet paper and all that. And we became the givers. We came from gratitude. We didn't ask for money back. Let's be real. Thing of Zephyr Hills is $5, $6.
I want to add
Love
one
it.
more thing to that real quick.
All right.
So also another thing is, after the hurricane, in the Facebook groups, we go around and we go live, and we just drive around the neighborhood and we look for damages, and then we'll contact the owners and say, hey, your soffit's damaged, and we help them with like handyman, vendors, painter, like whatever they need. Like, that's been also really helpful for
And
us.
host the post-hurricane party too, before someone else does. Invite them all to the green space and tell them to bring their food and alcohol.
All right, we got to wrap it up, but Erica, last words?
Well, hurricanes, we do bags. They come with flashlights, whatever. I've seen clients. We have a status called VIP in our database. So if you're one of our VIP clients, we're dropping off a hurricane bag to you. There's flashlights, batteries, kid games, cards that are branded, all that kind of stuff, water, toilet paper, paper towels. Sometimes it comes from the dollar store in that rush. And then sometimes you get a little troll on Winter Garden Rants, Raves, and Reviews and says it came from the dollar store. And I'm like, buddy, you go get water from somewhere right now. Let me know where you're going. So that, and then also in that VIP, my favorite place in life is Starbucks next to my house. And so we send out these emails for special events to our VIP. And it's so easy that you attach your Starbucks account, the little barcode in your app, preload it with $250, and you send it out and say, today is a really good day because it's the end of school or something like that. Go have a Starbucks on us. Oh, and drop a review if you hadn't done that when you did your transaction. And they'll spend up to the first $250, get it. And then literally they'll go to Starbucks, they'll scan your card. I get the stars. And then I get free coffee, and then they post it, and then they'll leave us a review if they hadn't already, but they'll tag it and be like, thanks, Erica, for my free, caramel macchiato last day of school. And so just staying top of mind, and that's such an easy one that anybody can use, and set your budget. It's $250, $150, whatever.
Yeah, speaking of setting your budget, we got $500, the first $500 spent at the Eden Lounge bar outside from PJ Crescenzo with Element Mortgage. How many of you guys learned something today? Give it up for the panelists if you did. We could keep this going forever, but I didn't rent the place forever, and you guys probably didn't block off the whole day. So one more time, round of applause for panelists, the speakers, everybody. DStewartProductions, his crew. Brian, you want to get a shot of the panelists? Definitely register for next month. Scan that QR code and grab your spot. We're back at Maitland venue on Lake Lily. Come join us in the Eat and Lounge bar and grab some food. And speakers, let's take a quick photo. Look at Brian. Thanks for coming out, y'all.